2026 marks the end of a wait that's been 13 years long. And if your mind went to GTA almost instantaneously, those years have been long and arduous. But even as I cross off the days on my calendar, I cannot help but feel like Crimson Desert will continue to be a title that stays with me even as I dive into the polished, potentially spectacular open world that GTA 6 is sure to give me. Yeah, GTA 6 is absolutely going to dominate the discourse around gaming once it drops, and rightly so. It's a follow-up to a title that continues to be among the best open worlds out there, and one that gave us so much freedom to roleplay to our heart's content. Everything you got to do in that one ended up with scenes that boasted of bombast and spectacle. I don't see why GTA 6 should be really any different, given that you're playing ex-cons in an adventure that's sure to have more than a few set pieces. I expect a lot of moments that players are going to be talking about with awe that's well deserved. But that only makes me certain that Pywell is going to enjoy a more quiet sort of appreciation. That's not to say that it's devoid of spectacle, not in the slightest. I did just tear through an army of enemy troops, dual swords flashing with an otherworldly power that they were ill-equipped to handle.
Just who do you think you are? Storming in and causing trouble?
But I also spent time in a cave, trying to figure out a complex piece of machinery in an effort to get a reward. How did I end up there after my epic battle? Well, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Now the point is, there are games that are built to earn the spotlight. That's going to be GTA 6. And conversely, there are games that simply stay just behind the curtain, quickly beckoning you to return to their world with the fond memories that they've given you, and the personal stories they allow you to craft for yourself. Crimson Desert's one of those titles. It's a title that's going to win your memory even as GTA 6 wins the conversation. Let's dive into why. Events versus experiences. The biggest names in modern gaming are often remembered as either launches that have been preceded by a lot of hype or as experiences that have delivered very highly on the moment-to-moment gameplay loop. Rockstar has built up enough hype around GTA 6 for its launch, and the subsequent slew of content around it to fall firmly into that first category. Now that isn't to say that I'm not expecting the game to have me completely enthralled with its offerings, but the way that I see it, those conversations are going to be based on shared experiences. They would focus on events. But in Pywell, things are a tad more chaotic. I'm still learning new things from Crimson Desert's vocal community of Greymanes, each of whom had discovered fresh ways to achieve specific goals that just sailed past me since my time with the game has taken me in an entirely different direction. I powered down my console last night after a thrilling time chasing down armor pieces for a set that would let Cliff look like a samurai, a search that led me to a place where crows constantly attacked me, intent on impeding my progress through that region. I misjudged a jump, plummeting downwards only to find a puzzle that had me scouring the surrounding areas for 3 symbols that I would then have to use in a solution. Only I forgot where the puzzle was in the first place. That new search put me in a path of a boss that took multiple tries and a lot of skillful parrying just to defeat. Every moment you spend in Pywell could lead to a new experience, which becomes the sort of thing that makes each session of play a sort of smaller story within its sprawling boundaries. So allow me to elaborate further. And that starts with how I spent my weekend in Pywell. Predictably unpredictable. For starters, I spent hours flitting between various cities and settlements, feeding stray cats to earn their trust before I brought them back to my Greymane camp. I now have a whole bunch of furry friends, and I stop to pet them all every time I visit my fellow brothers in arms. Now it was a lot of work to be sure, but I did enjoy the quiet rhythm of that particular activity. I then went on a search for a legendary horse, as my take on Cliff wouldn't want to show up on a common beast. I made my way to the Steel Mountains, where a group of goblins were annoying enough to distract me from my search. I took them down, the last one falling in front of a gigantic tower that had me forgetting about that new horse. After I figured out all I needed to do to get inside was to place a few stones around the front door, I soon ended up in Pywell's alternate world, racking my brains on a puzzle that would have me at my wit's end, forcing me to look up a solution that was staring me in the face all along. Of course, the warrior in me was itching to blow off some steam, and I soon came across a bunch of bandits who were waylaying an innocent man. I summarily dispatched them, giving their victim a ride to the nearest village, where I discovered rumors of a whole fort being taken over by those darn villains. Now, of course, I then went in alone, bringing them down with a ferocity that even GTA 5's Trevor would admire. All of this was in the space of 6 hours, with one coffee break to process it all. And there were 4 more sessions like that over 2 days. Crimson Desert is one of those rare games that gives you all of the freedom to explore its world that you could desire, and then immediately has you encountering a form of friction that stems from its mechanics, traversal, or puzzles that comes between you and a discovery that you're itching to learn more of. It allows things to get messy and trusts you to come up with ways to resolve your predicaments on your own terms. You don't just witness things in Pywel, but live through them and survive them in a way that makes the whole thing feel all the more relatable. Now, of course, things weren't all perfect. I can't remember how many times I wish the developers would address the annoying double jump issue in their next batch of updates. I spent hours trying to track down an item I needed to progress a quest, endlessly scouring through my inventory and private storage until a friendly Greymane on Reddit suggested I speak to the one who managed my camp's provisions and trade goods. That friction can get annoying from time to time, but it's also a part of Crimson Desert's charm. Flaws in any game are never good, but in some cases they stem from nuance and engineered resistance that are meant to make you stop and adapt to what the game throws at you. More often than not, those are the games that tend to be more vividly remembered than their more polished counterparts. The memories you have of them aren't just about their story or some massive twist, but from the unexpected adventures you have in their worlds. Snap back to reality. I'm under no illusions that GTA 6 is going to be a more polished release that will absolutely dominate both critical and commercial benchmarks, and manage to have the entire gaming community talking about the many things that it will bring to the table. It's a rockstar blockbuster release after all, but it's that very nature that makes it a very different offering from Crimson Desert. It's a game that's meant to gather momentum right off the bat, and sustain that momentum so its players don't feel like they're bogged down by its mechanics or systems at any point. It's designed to encourage a different kind of freedom, one that makes its players feel empowered to do as they please in its open world while encountering the least amount of resistance as the game can manage. That would mean that it could redefine what production values could mean for modern gaming. It's a title that's meant to have all of its players discussing its best set pieces across the board, its sheer scale overwhelming them into awe. But can it leave fingerprints on the memory the way that Crimson Desert does? Well, I hope so, as I'm hoping to be served a slice of humble pie later this year on that front. Now, make no mistake, I think GTA 6 is going to be talked about and remembered for years to come, considering how big of a release it really is. But Crimson Desert has each of its players coming away with it with different stories, and the only common talking point to connect them all is the fact that you'd have to be there to experience it the exact same way. It's a game that I'd certainly revisit in conversations, not to simply remember a mission, but to tell a fellow Greymane about my own adventure on the way there. The spotlight's going to move away from Pywell later this year, and I'm definitely grabbing a front row seat to GTA 6's unique brand of chaotic, open-world fun. Its much-awaited launch could be an era-defining event, one that's talked about for many years from now. But I know I'm never going to forget how Crimson Desert has made me feel, and the highs and lows that engaging with its vast world brings to the table. It's a game that doesn't aim to be memorable, but manages to leave you with enough fond memories to remain unforgettable. And on that note, I'm off to make more of those memories before I move on to other titles and other worlds.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.